The Star Wars one, we could actually, we have, we really have. So my
Bye, Donnie.
bye, Donnie. My theory.
What in the world?
Did
That
you-
was.
did-
Why is it going off? My
I don't
light's
It's
my light's
ET.
still on up there.
It's ET.
Whatever.
What's up, folks, and welcome to another episode of Real Amigos. This is the podcast where we get together and talk about movies, but thankfully it's not just my voice you'll be hearing. Joining me, as always, are my two co-hosts, Donnie. Donnie, what's up, man?
Hey man, it's wet again in Florida.
Oh, it's a lot
I'm
of
in the
rain.
shade
Under
again.
the sombrero.
Under the sombrero, baby.
Very nice. And also, Phil. Phil, what's up, man?
Hey, man.
Hey man,
Hey, man. Hey, man.
what's up, man?
What's up? Well, all right. So if you're already
Doug
lost,
here.
if you're already lost, we're talking about a movie that Phil is already referencing, and it's going to be fun. But we'll get there. So real quick, just to kind of get the stuff out of the way that I don't like to talk about anyways, we are a movies podcast. Real Amigos drops every Friday on the podcast service of your choice, or we also have a video version that goes up on youtube.com. So what we'd ask you to do is, if you're watching this right now on YouTube, if you'll hit the like button right down below, that lets us know that you enjoy it. If you want to leave a comment, obviously that's there. You can share it out as well. If you are listening on, on your headphones somewhere on podcast, we would ask that you rate our show, whether it's on iTunes or Google Play, whatever that is. Even if it's 1 star, having a rating just lets us, be able to broaden our audience. So that helps us a lot. It also gives us feedback. If you don't like something we're doing, then we would like to hear back and be able to make those changes. All right.
I would like to be the 1-star podcast.
That would be
Oh,
awesome
wow.
if everyone rated us one
If
star.
everybody
It'd be
just
like a
rated us 1
B
star.
movie kind of
We
situation.
could change
it's
the
like-
title. Yeah,
It's
Oh,
like
man. The
these
1
guys
star
get nothing
podcast.
but 1 stars.
That's
I want
right.
to check that out.
That's
the
right.
1-star podcast.
That's right. How about this? If we get 100 1-star reviews, we will change the name of the podcast and become the
Yep.
1-star review show.
Excellent.
Yeah, so
And we'll
there you
spend
go.
every episode like acting like we don't like going like.
Is this on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I don't know what's happening.
They're not plugged in. Things like that.
I don't see any reason to not continue our subpar content as it is already.
So
What are you
basically,
talking about?
just doing the
Right.
show as it is.
So you think we're a quality 1-star podcast?
We are, for a 1-star podcast, we're high quality. Yes, I do
You can
think
probably
We-
see some brown strips here because my backdrop's not quite wide enough.
mine was. I don't want to get into that.
So we are the highest.
Oh, look who joined me though.
Uh-oh.
Check it out.
You see that in the back?
You see that?
That is really freaky, Don.
It's ET.
That is a freaky giant.
My
ET.
light is too bright. I'm sorry.
No,
It
it's
is-
It is
fine.
a big old honking ET. There
is
is
a
no
big
doubt
ET.
about it.
Is it like a stuffed thing or is it
It's a big stuffed ET with a sombrero on.
It literally does not look like that.
I can
I'm
see it.
keeping him.
I can see
Can you turn your overhead light off so we can
Thank you,
see?
Chris. I can't. It's way back behind.
Don't
the
worry
fake
about it. It's
curtain
fine.
Here.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's take a picture. We'll put it on the Facebook group, which brings us to the Facebook group.
Here.
If
here,
you go to
ready?
facebook.com/The Real Amigos.
How's that?
Not
Really,
helping.
not really good.
Can't see him.
You can find
You
our
look like you're. There he is.
There he is. There he is.
Is he
Oh,
wearing like a
gosh.
cod piece? What's
I
happening?
would also
No,
like
no
to.
cod pieces.
I would also like to remind you guys that anybody listening to the show right now has no idea what's happening because they can't see.
We're trying to
I feel
talk
like-
it out. It's
I feel
ET.
like-
He's behind me. He's wearing a sombrero. I've told them everything.
Oh god! Look, we have a
The
Facebook
video
group.
version's way more entertaining anyway.
Probably.
Why
probably.
do you have that?
Why do I have what?
So we're just talking about ET now.
One of
Okay.
our listeners, well, sometime listeners, said they had a giant ET and they requested that perhaps it could be in the background of the podcast. And I said, cool, let's do it.
Is that who you were trying to text earlier?
I love it.
It-
I love it.
It scared my wife, by the way.
Of course it did. It's a
Just sitting
giant
on the
ET.
couch. She was like, She texts me. She's like, "Where did the ET come from?" I'm like, "What? I don't know."
Did I
Anyway.
ever? So when we watched ET for the first, I showed it to my kids for the first time. Chris is already like, "Oh dear Lord, off rails."
It's off the rails earlier than normal. We are the 1-star podcast. Continue.
I showed this so at the time I only had my biological kids, I think. So Griffin would have only been like 2. He wept, like sobbed when
Because
ET got on the thing to leave.
You mean the spaceship?
Yeah, he's like, why does he have to go? Why does he have? I mean, like at 2, he absorbed all of the emotion.
Dude, that's a lot of emotion to take in at 2, bro.
And
There's a lot of stuff being processed there.
I looked at him like, how does he get this? Turns out he's kind of our feeler anyway. He like feels like sadness. Like when he gets sad, he's like, it's my fault. It's just
You scarred him, dude. He's scarred for life.
It's all because of ET. And bringing it back full circle, we have an ET in our podcast now that was requested by our Facebook group member, which brings me back to join the Facebook group. That is,
yes,
that's
all of that ET crap just got cut. Go.
No, it didn't. I'm leaving it in. It's great. So our Facebook group, if you go to facebook.com, you look up Real Amigos. We have a private group. It is a group where we talk about movie stuff. You know, we gave some of our impressions of Solo, which we're going to talk about in a minute. I try to bounce in there sometimes to drop news, or we have some people that will actually contribute and stuff. So yeah, you guys check that out. Join the group. You have to be accepted, but we pretty much accept anybody, and as long as you're not just a total jerk, you can stay. So with that being said, we are here to talk about movies, but before we get into our topic tonight, let's talk about a few things, because we two of us, so 2/3 of our group, have seen a little movie that came out last week called Solo, a Star Wars story. Solo, and I would say
which looks to become the lowest grossing Star Wars movie ever.
That's
more
hard.
than likely.
I want to talk about that in a second, but before we get there, so Phil hasn't seen it. Donnie and I have seen it. Phil said he's probably not going to go see it in the theater, so he's part of the problem. You can all send your You can send your hate mail. At Phil Miles on Twitter.
Philip is actively trying to shut down the Star Wars.
He wants to see Star Wars burn just because he's a hipster. It
has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that they did not do a good enough job of compelling me. I enjoy Star Wars for the most, but I'm not Chris or Donnie, and so I felt like they really needed to appeal to the people like me, and they just failed to do so. They didn't make it interesting.
Were there not enough Ewoks for you in the movie?
There was definitely not enough Ewoks.
Actually, well, there
I'm
was
with Chris.
one.
I felt like the premise of the movie.
That's different. That's another story.
Yeah, were there Ewoks in the movie for?
No, I'm not telling you now.
No, I don't care.
Okay, so look, we're not going to.
You will care.
I just felt
it's
like
actually pretty great. I think it's a pretty great moment.
That they did not do a good enough job of telling me in advance why I need to go see this movie.
Sure.
Why this story matters a whit.
Was there a toy you wanted as a child that you didn't get? Are you just angry?
No, see, I will say that I wasn't put off by anything that they showed, because I had really high hopes for this movie.
You did.
But
you were hot, I believe.
I was very.
I am hot for this movie.
I was very hot for the movie. So if you haven't already figured out, there's definitely differing opinions, and we're not going to spoil it because it's only a week out. I don't even know that I even want to do a spoiler cast at this point, but if we do, we'll get there. I will say I won't.
That's happening.
I have no idea what's happening on the video. I will say I won't speak for Donnie, but Donnie did like it more than I do. All I will say is that I echo exactly what Phil said. Like, I wanted a story that mattered to the overall universe of Star Wars and really kind of built who Han was, and I feel like that this was just a 2-hour action piece that did nothing to deepen any of the characters that played a part, and so for me it was almost completely useless, and that is my biggest problem. I liked the movie. I thought it was fine. I had fun. I laughed quite a bit. It was funnier than it probably had any right to be. It looked amazing. The cinematography was just fantastic, but the actual content of the story, there was nothing there. It was completely useless. So that's where I stand. Donnie, you want to say anything on your side?
Strong.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong opinion.
I found it to be useless. Donnie, what are your thoughts?
Found it to be useless, and anyone that liked it is complete garbage. Donnie, your thoughts? I enjoyed it overall. I see where Chris is coming from and where you're coming from too, because I felt like you felt the first several times I saw the preview. Then I started thinking, well, hey man, it's Han. It's going to be good. You know, I get to learn some new stuff about him. And really, I mean, like Chris said, there's not a lot of, there's one particular thing I was a little shocked by when you look and it says 3 years later. And you're kind of like, I
hated that.
What just happened there?
That was the worst part of the movie for me.
It was a little, I have to agree. That was like a little surprising. You're like, what happened? You know? But there were two kind of origin-y things that happened. One of them I liked a lot. The other one I didn't care for as much. But I mean, I can't really say a whole lot about what they were.
About his name?
The name was one, and
that was not good. And then
Chewie was the other.
Chewie was good.
I enjoyed the Chewie thing.
Yeah.
And then you learned something about Han there that you never knew before either in that scene.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I know. I think
I enjoyed that.
I think that moment I think from the introduction of Chewie to the shower scene was probably the most important.
I forgot about the shower scene.
I feel like that to me was the most important part of the movie entirely. So
yeah. It was fun. I had fun with it. I did.
And I did too. Like I said, I didn't hate it. It
definitely did not expand the Han mythos. It was pretty basic. It was a basic story, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I would say, and again, I haven't seen it, but based on what I've heard in conversations that we've had via text and now tonight, like if they had done for Han what they did for Thanos or what, like, give him a reason. Like, I like what Chris had to say. Like, give him a reason for being against the Empire. Like give us a reason why he's so frustrated with them. Like you said, in the cantina on Tatooine, he's like, I'm trying to stay away from this situation. It's like, why? What?
Yeah.
What is
and
it?
I thought they did a good job setting up the Jabba stuff.
I agree, but
I know, I get it.
It's his character, right? It's like Luke. When we meet Luke Skywalker in A New Hope, Luke is a whiny power converter.
Star Wars.
In A New Hope.
Star Wars.
Yeah, in A New
Star
Hope.
Wars.
So Luke is a whiny, little teenage, dirtbag. When we meet him, I want power converter. He's just like this whiny little jerk, right?
Nailed it.
And by the end of the movie, he's he's already kind of the hero of the story, and then you just continue to see that progress to when he walks into Jabba's palace in Jedi, and he just lays waste to everybody. He has become a Jedi master. There was that progression. Han, from the very first time we see him in Solo, is the exact same person that he is whenever he flies. When he flies to frickin' Endor in Jedi. That is not.
Now they could have gone the Anakin route and got a child actor, a really good one, and done that whole thing.
I mean,
that would have really been awesome.
I don't need to see him as a child. So look, we're not going to spoil anything, but Donnie already kind of alluded to it. There is a 3-year jump in the movie, and I feel like this entire movie could have taken place in that 3 years, and I would have been happy.
Maybe
with
they'll come back. Maybe that's their plan, is to fill in the gap.
There's no other Solo movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
No way.
The way it bombed, I don't know if they will. I mean, they set it up as a trilogy, and he signed on to do 3 movies. And
I will say this: I don't think this is spoilery, Chris. You can edit it out if it is. But it wasn't as Lando heavy as I thought. He was in it very
he
little.
Was so
he was
good.
in it very little.
Yeah, he was so good though. Don't.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed him, but he was hardly in it.
I feel like that's Donald Glover's plight. They're using Donald Glover in the previews of movies, and then you watch the movie, and you're like, they did the same thing in Spider-Man. You're like,
yeah, it's true. He's in.
Are you in this movie?
Yeah, he's in like two scenes.
I thought you were in this movie.
Yeah, but see, Lando's another thing. It's like where they leave Lando. Well, maybe not. You could do a Lando.
Did you get a Lando movie?
They telegraphed that ending though by a long shot. That was pretty obvious.
Okay, we need to move on so we don't spoil anything.
Is Lando gay?
Not really.
Not Lando. Huh? Chewie maybe, but anyway, carry on.
No, Lando is pansexual. But we can't really explain what that means without spoiling the movie.
Yeah, that is a whole nother issue.
They use that term?
No.
Oh no.
But you know what it means.
There is a weird element to Lando's character in this movie,
and
I don't have an explanation for.
Yeah. Well, there
was a bit of speculation.
I mean, there is, but I don't think I like what it could be.
Yeah.
But okay, we need to stop because it's weird.
So we can talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. Okay, moving on. With that all being said, anything else that you guys have done? Hey, I finished. I was watching the Orville. I finished the first season of the Orville. Absolutely love it. If you like sci-fi at all, and you like especially like old Star Trek stuff, I would recommend that you check it out. It is absolutely great. I also finished the first season of AP Bio, which next to Brooklyn Nine-Nine is probably my favorite show on TV.
What show? What? I don't know what you just
said. Bio.
AP Bio is about.
I've never heard of that.
Oh my gosh!
It's got one of the guys from.
Are you saying
Sunny. Advanced
Bio.
Placement.
Yeah, advanced. Yeah,
it's
class. Yeah, it's school.
Biology.
I got you. Never heard.
You have
Patton Oswalt.
Patton
Oswalt.
Oh,
I don't like it already. I don't like that dude.
But it's one of the guys from.
He's punchable. Sunny. He's another punchable guy. Sorry, Phil. Go ahead.
There you
go.
No,
is that where he's from? The main guy's Sunny in Philadelphia guy. Yeah. I never watched Sunny.
Oh.
So, yeah. No, AP Bio is great.
I don't think it's Chris's kind of humor.
I don't think it's a good idea.
AP Bio.
There's a whole episode about Danny DeVito pooping in the bed.
Oh yeah, I don't want to watch that.
It's so good.
That's not for me.
Actually, it's called Who Pooped the Bed.
Nope,
we're not sure.
That's not for me.
There's a fantastic claymation poop rolling scene.
Okay, that's not for me.
Kind of gives you a flavor for the whole show.
You should check out AP Bio. AP Bio is really good. All right, anything else worth talking about? You guys have anything?
I watched Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, is that the new one, right? With The Rock?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but
I didn't expect to enjoy it, but I did. It was funny, and it was a good watch.
You know, that's Gamora.
Yes, that is, and I was surprised to find that out. She does not look like the creepy blue and purple alien
Gamora.
I thought
it's
for
Nebula.
years.
Nebula, not Gamora.
Yeah, Nebula, sorry. I thought for years that Nebula was played by. Either of you guys watch Psych?
I've seen it.
Or have you seen 90s comedy with Freddie Prinze Jr. where he dates the ugly nerdy girl?
Yeah.
She's all that.
She's all that. Yeah.
Is that it?
I thought that. So that girl was Sean's girlfriend in Psych for a couple of seasons, and I could have sworn that was her in the makeup. Like it looks just like her.
She's that's Amy Pond from Doctor Who. Karen Gillan plays Nebula.
Yeah. I don't watch Doctor Who.
Yeah.
We just got 1 star.
Yeah, we just got 1 star. 1 star. The podcast where nobody knows what Doctor Who is except for Chris, because he's awesome.
Donnie does. I think he's.
I have not watched Doctor Who in literally about 40 years.
Oh gosh.
Imaginary Worlds. Plug Imaginary Worlds. Maybe we'll grab a couple of their listeners.
Yes.
They did a pretty good episode, or a couple of episodes on the Doctor Who.
Yes, yeah.
Show.
I love Doctor Who. All right, enough of this crap. Let's get into what we're here for. So
we talk about things.
Enough of this.
I'm caught up. I have now seen Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Okay.
Which I had not seen.
Okay.
Enjoyed the is it two? We can talk about that ending, right? That's not a twist. That's not a spoiler. How old is that movie?
It's a year old. It's just
year
last
old.
year.
So can we talk about the reveal at the end?
So we're gonna count to 5, and we're gonna give Spider-Man spoilers. So if you don't want to hear them, you need to tune off. Maybe fast forward 2 minutes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Spoilers. Go.
I did not.
Michael Keaton's Vulture.
I did not see Michael Keaton as the father.
Yes.
I didn't
Oh,
see it.
father twist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't
that
see
was
it.
good.
I didn't either.
That was one of the
I was
best
like,
twists
what?
I've seen in a
Yeah,
while in a movie.
because I didn't get, man, you watch it now and it makes a little more sense, but I didn't get it either. That was such a
I
great
was
moment.
shocked. It was
Here,
a
I
great,
took-
like they played it close to the chest the whole time, and then I was like,
Yeah.
oh yes,
I
this is
took
great.
I took Kira to the theater to see it, and she and her face dropped too. It was great. Now what? But then what followed? That
That
car
scene in the
ride
car?
was
Oh, my
amazing.
gosh.
Best scene in the movie. So good. God,
When he
so
starts
good.
putting it together, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, so good.
So good. Okay.
I like
yeah,
that movie.
No
It
more
was-
spoilers.
that's a great movie.
Homecoming
I love
was
that.
great. Yeah, Homecoming was great.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
The
and
best
then-
Spider-Man movie of any of them. He is a perfect Spider-Man and a perfect Peter Parker. He's perfect.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
What else did you watch? Black Panther?
I watched Black Panther.
I have not seen it yet. I'm
I
going to
really
watch
liked
it.
it.
Hopefully this weekend I'm going to watch it.
I really liked it. I thought it was great. Chris, your initial disappointment, I mean, I get why. We've talked enough about that. We've extolled all of those reasons, but
Sure.
I felt like I could get more of Michael B. Jordan. I would like to
Oh,
see
he was
him
the
come
worst.
back. I would like to see him come back as a
He
redeemed
retired like
good
10
guy.
years ago, Phil. I don't think he's coming back.
Not Michael. What's his name? Yeah,
No, it is Michael B. Jordan. Yeah.
Oh, Michael B.
Michael B.
Jordan.
Jordan.
Okay.
I
thought you were
think
just saying,
I
like,
could
hey,
see
Michael,
him come
be Jordan.
back as a redemptive character, resurrected in some way.
Hey, man, I've not seen the movie. Don't spoil it, please.
I'll just say that I think that that's definitely a possibility. I will say this. I still
My chopped liver here?
I think that
No, you're not spoiled.
I
It's-
think that Michael B. Jordan is the worst villain that Marvel's put forth to this point.
I thought he overacted the character a little bit, but I feel like
Was he
I
worse
just
than
think-
the weird robot in Thor?
The Destroyer? I mean, the Destroyer was just. I mean, he's kind of a minion. He's not really a bad guy.
Oh,
I
don't
wouldn't
remember.
call him a
Robot
bad guy.
Thor.
Yeah, Destroyer at the end. He goes at the very first Thor movie. He blows up Oklahoma.
dude, I don't even remember.
Oklahoma.
The Thor movies are.
We need to have this conversation after Donnie's seen it because I'd like to get his take on it. I think that I think that Michael B. Jordan's a great
I will
actor.
watch it this weekend.
I think
and
I
will
think
be
Michael
ready
B.
next
Jordan is a
time.
great actor. I think the character of Killmonger was just. I didn't agree with his motive. I didn't agree with the way he went up by it. I didn't for once have any sympathy for his character at all.
I had some logistical issues.
There were
with
tons of logistical issues. How
some
he
of the
got
things
there.
that happened,
Yeah.
how he got to the place where he got
Yeah,
there, and all
I
that
agree.
stuff. But
yeah.
I get it.
All right, enough. I
We
don't
can
want
talk
to
about it later because
No
there's
more.
a lot-
I'm going to watch it this weekend, and I'll be good to go next
Okay.
time.
All right, let's move on then. So, and that's actually a great segue because we've been
Well,
talking about
that's the segue. I did
Marvel
watch
movies.
Thor Ragnarok.
That's
as well.
good. That's right. So we are
Excellent.
talking tonight. We are talking about the most recent movie we've talked about to date, and that is the third installation of the Thor series called Thor Ragnarok.
Hey man, I'm Korg. This is me. We're gonna jump on that spaceship and get out of here. Wanna come?
Thor Ragnarok is the third, as Chris said, in the Thor series. It was released in 2017, back in November, directed by Taika Waititi. It stars Chris
That's
Hemsworth
probably
as
not right.
Thor. It is right. I've
It
heard
is
the guy
right.
say
Yeah,
it.
it is right.
Okay.
The director says it in the scenes, after credits, whatever. Not the credits, behind the scenes. Mark Ruffalo or Ruffalo, I don't know how you say his name.
Ruffalo.
He is the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. Kate Blanchett as Hela. And Jeff Goldblum
As Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum, baby. The synopsis of this film,
Love him.
Thor. Thor is imprisoned on the trash planet Sakaar and must race against time to return to Asgard, his home planet, and try to stop Ragnarok, which is the destruction of his world, at the hands of the powerful and ruthless villain, also, spoiler, his sister, Hela.
So it goes.
Discuss.
it goes without saying, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already figured out what we do, we cover a movie in depth. Since this is Thor Ragnarok, we are going to talk spoilers. This is only about 6 months old, so if you have not seen Thor Ragnarok, understand that, bookmark it, and come back when you have. But starting from here on out, anything goes. So spoilers, be warned.
Can we afford to ask people to turn off and lose listeners?
I
Is
mean,
that a good idea?
I mean,
anything goes.
please give us 1 star, then
1 star,
turn
and then
off.
come back.
1 star and you can leave forever. Just give us 1 star.
Okay, this movie's great. Let's talk about it.
It is.
Love this movie.
It is.
This
great.
might be
Awesome.
my favorite. This might be my favorite Marvel movie.
Oh.
I didn't think that on the first viewing when I saw it in the theater. But when I watched it last week, I was like, I'm really enjoying this movie, man. I was really into
It's
it.
good.
Now,
I had my favorite character from Marvel in this movie, and I hope to see more of him.
and that would be
Korg, man.
Yeah, Korg
Hey,
is
man.
the best.
Oh, Korg. Okay.
That's great.
The Rock. Pilot Rock's talking to you.
Good luck, new Dave.
He says, "Hey, I'm a perishable pile of rocks, me." There's one right there. I
Oh, man.
love it. I love it.
That's the director's voice.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
Taika
director's
voice.
Waititi.
Yeah. So,
Man.
Korg
He's
is
funny.
the best. Korg is the best. So, okay. So let's walk back a little bit because there's some great stuff to talk about here.
Yes.
Let's just
Okay.
overall review. Donnie, let's start with you. You said you think it may be your favorite Marvel movie. So tell us just overall, what did you like about it?
I like everything about it. I like the pacing. I like the humor. It's probably over the top humorous, but I don't know, man. It's great. And the color of this movie is insane.
So good. Oh,
It's like
gosh.
watching Speed Racer, man. The
It's
color
good.
is just
Yeah.
like kaboom.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I love Hela. I think she's like one of the best villains.
Oh wow, we need to talk about this.
You don't like her?
I know. I tend to agree with you, but most people hate her.
I liked her. I thought she was good, man.
I'll
I
say
mean,
this: she presents some of the problems that I'm starting to have with most of the Marvel movies, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay. But as a villain, I liked her. I thought she was good. I really enjoyed it, man. When I came away from the theater, I was kind of like, it was pretty good. But just watching it, I picked up, it's just like anything. You pick up on the nuances and you either like it or you don't. Raising Arizona, you ate sand.
That's right. That's right.
Versus like,
Yes.
other movies where you watch it like, I don't know, say Robin Hood Men in Tights maybe, and you're like,
You decide not
this
to
is
talk
really
about it.
dumb and terrible, and the nuance of it is ridiculous and outdated.
It's
but
Mel
this
Brooks,
movie-
there's no nuance.
Jeez.
There's definitely
actually-
no.
But anyway,
definitely no
that was
nuance.
another universe that we were in. But I loved it. I really did. I loved the movie. It's in my top 3 for sure. Marvel movies for sure.
Yeah.
I feel that strongly about it.
All right, Phil.
Wow.
Give me
The
your
action is great. Everything. I enjoyed.
give me
it. Go ahead,
your
Phil.
initial impression because you seem to be a little taken aback that Donnie rated it so high. So where do you fall?
Well, I would say first of all, I'm surprised that Donnie would choose such. For me, and I know that I read some comics back in the day, but I was never like a die. I was mostly a Spider-Man Hulk guy, but not really in the Avengers.
Okay.
I didn't know a lot about Thor, so I would have always kind of classified Thor as just in my experience, more obscure than the other characters. But I could also say I didn't really know a lot about Captain America. So now those guys are some of my favorite characters in the MCU. But I just was surprised. I mean, I didn't think that. I don't know that I would say it's the best. I don't know. I just was surprised. I think when you've got Captain America 2
Winter Soldier.
That's a great one.
Soldier.
I love that movie.
is, I say it, whenever we talk MCU, I come back to that movie. It is untoppable for me. I
Yeah.
love it. It's fantastic.
Okay, well, I don't keep naming movies because I have something we're gonna do later on.
Oh.
So not
Should-
tonight, but I have something special in mind coming up. So, with that being said, so regardless of his impersonation or his impression of it, what about you? You liked it though, right?
Liked it a lot. I really
Okay.
liked it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was too kind of hammy at times.
Agreed.
I'm not really sure what happened to Bruce Banner, although I think you can justify his oddity being like, I'm just kind of like trapped. Having been trapped in almost like isolation kind of for years.
Okay.
But he was less serious. Like Dr. Banner became sort of like, he was all hammy.
Yeah.
But he's funny. He was funny when he's like talking about how tight Tony's pants are or whatever. Like that made me laugh.
Yeah, that was funny.
But I
He
just
was-
thought
he
that
was
like they're kind of doing Banner a disservice a couple of times. And I won't spoil Black Panther, but they do it in Infinity where they do it too, where it's like, why didn't you do this with Vision's stone? And they just kind of like, oh, we didn't think of it. Like it's Bruce Banner. Like he's not an idiot. And so they sort of like, they've kind of, and then in this movie, he sort of gets played up for kind of a dummy. Kind of like he's the dumb.
Chris, are you tired, buddy?
No,
But
no.
I
I'm
enjoyed
processing.
Hulk in this
I'm
movie.
processing.
I loved Hulk in this movie. I thought.
Oh
that,
yeah, I didn't
was
even
great.
mention Hulk. He was
Yeah.
great.
Hulk was great.
When we first see Hulk, unfortunately, they ruined that in the previews.
They did.
Oh my gosh,
I
that
hate
would have been
previews,
amazing.
man.
I think they
I
probably
hate
should have.
previews.
They could have kept it from us that Hulk was in this movie,
That would have been amazing.
and that reveal would have been.
Oh my god.
Oh, that would have been amazing without the preview.
But see that's the problem with movies today is they can't do that. I mean,
No, they can't.
We were just talking about Solo, right? Like if they kept like Chewie and Lando from the promo stuff, and we had no idea what the movie would be, and then we saw those reveals in the movie, that would have so much more weight to it than, when you go into the movie, he's going to meet Chewie because Chewie's a main character, so you're just waiting for that to happen. Just like in Thor, he's going to meet Hulk, and so you're just waiting for that to happen. If you didn't know, that would have been fantastic.
yeah.
Well, because imagine the weight that would have carried when they're like, "Gotta watch out," the Grandmaster champion and all this stuff. And you're like, "Who is this guy?" Like,
Yeah.
And it would have been really good.
Yeah.
Now the Hulk talks a lot, like fairly, like normally in this movie. I found that a little bit weird.
No, that's good. That's consistent with the comics.
I mean, even his voice sounds more human-y than.
Chris always has these answers, so I'll let him.
I'm feeding him.
I think
I'm spoon feeding you, man.
No, I think Phil. I was jumping in, but Phil was going to say it. The whole conceit of the movie is that he had been Hulk for about 2 years.
Yes,
and so
straight.
Yeah, 2 years straight, and so he's
he's straight.
He's not Lando. What he's done is he's just basically he's like a child, and so he's picked up words and he's slowly learned, and so for being in that form for 2 years, the thing about Hulk is that Hulk is not brainless. He's just has like almost like an infantile type brain. And so, he's at an education level of a 2-year-old. A 2-year-old can say, broken sentences and things. And that's kind of, the correlation there.
In the 90s, Donnie, there was a whole stint of Hulk comics where he was gray
and smart.
And could talk like a person. Like he had,
like he was smart Hulk, right?
Yeah,
smarter.
Yeah. He wasn't as strong. I think it was
he was less strong and he was smarter. I remember that.
There's this like battle between Gray Hulk and Green Hulk inside of Bruce Banner, and then emerges this super strong Green Hulk who's also intelligent. I don't know if they kept that, Chris, but that was in the 90s.
What's good about this, and this is kind of already going off the beaten path, but what's good about this for Hulk is Marvel has done this great thing where now you've given Hulk the ability to communicate, even if it's broken. And so you could literally see him show up in a movie and just be CGI. Because now he can actually talk. So, let's say that, let's say Captain Marvel, later on down the road, you want to have Hulk show up maybe just for a fight scene. Now you don't have to go to all the trouble of maybe bringing in Ruffalo or whatever. You can just have him do a couple lines, and then, I don't even know if he actually does a line. They may have a different voice actor that does Hulk's voice. But whatever it is, then you just CGI him in. Whereas if you didn't, with him not being able to communicate, you would normally have to have him come back to Banner so that there has to, so that you can understand, motive or move the plot forward. But Hulk can actually do that now. So I think it's a smart play just for like the future, because now we're talking about what's going to happen in phase 4 and phase 5 when the Avengers are all gone and they've reset everything. Hulk can actually still show up even if it's just CGI. So which is good.
Yeah.
But that has no bearing on this movie. I will say that coming in for me, so this is basically an amalgam of two comic book series, both of them that I like, two comic runs. So Ragnarok, which is obviously where it gets its name from, is a big one. But then it also has the inclusion of Planet Hulk. And so in the comics, they do this thing where they form what's called the Illuminati, and it's Professor X and Black Panther and Reed Richards and Tony Stark and Namor, and I'm probably missing somebody, but it's that group, like the smartest people in the Marvel universe, and they decide that Hulk cannot be trusted to be on Earth anymore, so they basically send him off into space, and he ends up so it
They just shoot him off like.
Well,
See ya.
he
You're
was
here.
doing a mission for Shield, and they basically hijacked the ship and jacked with the nav system and sent him somewhere else. They found a perfect planet for him that was uninhabited by humans that he could live on and be happy. But anyway, he ended up landing on Sakaar, and so in Planet Hulk, Hulk is actually the Thor character in like the way that Thor is portrayed in Ragnarok. So Hulk is the one that has to enter the gladiator's ring, and he eventually gets to the Grandmaster's champion, which is Silver Surfer in the comic. And so then it's Hulk facing off against Silver Surfer. They basically took that entire storyline, and Hulk meets Korg, and he meets Meek, and so they start a group. So they basically took that entire storyline and put Hulk in the place of Silver Surfer, and then put Thor in the place of Hulk, and they made it a Thor movie. So coming into it, I was a little worried because I actually really like the Planet Hulk stuff, but I thought. Coming from the comic book side, I thought they nailed it. I thought it was such a great way to adapt those two stories where it made sense on film, made sense for the characters they had. And I agree, Donnie. I thought the pacing from start to finish was just excellent. I like how it starts. It starts off kind of funny, with Surtur, but then we get kind of the serious, interaction between Thor and Loki, and then it's pretty serious when they go to Earth and they're looking for Odin, and then they meet Hela, and then it just gets like banana pants bonkers, which I absolutely love. So it's great.
Yeah, it gets there quick. I thought it was pretty good. The opening was pretty good in that it's kind of like a fourth wall break, but then he ends up he's actually talking to the skeleton.
Oh yeah,
like
funny.
You think he's kind of narrating, and then you're like, oh okay, see what we're doing.
Yeah, it's good.
But Phil's right. It got hammy right off the bat too.
Oh, I thought it was so bad. I thought it was great.
Oh, hang on.
I'm coming back.
I'm not even doing that. I'm not even moving. Just hang on a second. Let me come back around.
I love it. I thought
it was funny, but I mean,
great.
it seemed like I said, it's out of the blue for the Marvel movies, I think.
Well,
but I think
for
it's
that
funny.
Character.
That's what I would say.
But is he just getting more human? Maybe he's starting to kind of get the hang of it. Like, I don't know.
I think the MCU, I think Marvel, I think the studio realized they were going to lose this character. Sure. If they kept playing all the Marvel movies or all the Thor movies like super serious.
Yeah. So I think what happened is I think that Marvel has been praised for kind of pushing the envelope with this stuff, kind of trusting their writers and trusting their teams to deliver. And they've done that for the most part, but Guardians was the big one, right? Guardians was the one where they rolled the dice and they're like, this could make or break. Like, that was the first one for a long time that people were like, I don't think Marvel can pull off the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is not going to work. And people loved the Guardians. And I think what that allowed them to do is be like, okay, we can embrace the goofy and kind of the far out nature of it. And Thor kind of really fits with that. Thor is a cosmic character, so that kind of ties into kind of the way the Guardians is played. And I think that they just were like, okay, now we've established that our characters can be a little zany and we can take this stuff a little less serious. And I think that they were just like, we just need to establish Thor for being that character. And I think that it is by far the best Thor movie because I think it's the most realized version of what Thor should be.
Hey, Phil, I have a question for you. I'm sorry, Chris.
Go ahead.
What podcast number is this? Like 6 or 7?
This is podcast number 7.
Number 7? Okay, so
This is 7.
see if that works. So anyway, my point is, how much of this, Philip, do you think you and I have spent listening to Chris talk about Marvel movies?
This is the
I
first
love
part.
Chris's I love your
Sorry.
passion, and I love that you do it. It's just funny because when you start, man,
Sorry.
you're like a well, dude, of info.
I'm
Like,
sorry.
No, you're
Don't
good.
apologize.
I'm not complaining.
How would
I'm
this podcast
learning.
be if we were
I'm
talking about a
learning at
Marvel
your
movie?
feet, sir.
No,
You just
we are
have
talking
so
about
much going on up here, man. It's
Sorry.
amazing to me.
Sorry. If
Carry
only I could
He's like
actually
Patton Oswalt.
make a living doing that. So
That is exactly
gosh.
why, Donnie, what you just said is exactly why I contend that the casting for that you guys talked about in my absence last week is that Chris should be cast as Patton Oswalt.
Yeah.
I would
If
take
you-
that.
that
I
would
like
work.
Patton Oswalt.
Comedians in cars, getting coffee, the episode with Patton Oswalt. Oswalt says a couple things, and I'm like, Ali, is Chris talking right now? Like, what is happening right now?
That guy drives me nuts.
I like Patton Oswalt.
All
Okay, all right, let's jump in.
By the way, Patton Oswalt was great in Walter Mitty.
Yes, of course he was, and I think he's good. I think he's good.
Because Walter Mitty is great.
Walter.
I don't
Mitty is-
remember him in that.
Walter
I'll have to go
Mitty
back
is
and watch it.
Okay, so
All right,
let's
go.
let's
Do
talk
something,
about.
Chris. I got questions. I need answers.
Yeah,
and
well,
I've
so,
got
well, so
other
yeah, so
thoughts.
that's what I was going to say. So I've been talking for a while. So let's just go around and talk about some things that maybe stuck out that you guys want. So Donnie, you actually had some things. So you want to throw something out?
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
Sure.
That was a little big about how unprepared I usually am for the show.
No,
Donnie,
no,
you
no,
actually
no.
had some things.
Oh, well, that's good. No. Donnie said before we started, I have some questions that I want to throw out there. So
All right. Well, I'll make a few statements and then I'll ask my questions. First of all,
I want a
get to
chance to answer some of these questions.
I actually want
I'll
you to
address
answer
them to
all
you
of them
first.
before I answer them. How about
All
that?
right, go.
First of all, I thought it was interesting. I got to see Hulk's butt. That was different.
That was great. That was great.
That's
It was
awful.
Thor
very.
got to see more.
It was very.
Yes. I really thought the Banner Thor kind of exchange when he became Banner and they escaped out of the room and they're sitting there. He was trying to get was he trying to get him to be Hulk or was trying to keep him away from being Hulk? Right?
No,
He
he
was trying to
Depends
keep
on
him
where
as
you're at.
Banner.
he
He did
wanted
both.
to. He
They were
wanted
sitting down and he had just changed into Stark's clothes.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, I really like Banner. He's my favorite, and all this. And then he says something like, yeah, but
But right now we need Hulk.
Yeah.
he says, but isn't Banner powerful in his own way or something?
Yeah.
Banner says that.
Banner's like,
And Thor goes, is he?
is he?
Is he? It was just really, I love that little exchange they had there. That was pretty clever.
Well, that's when he's like, I defeated you. That doesn't sound
Yeah,
right.
that
That's
doesn't
what
sound right. I think that their dynamic.
But he did defeat him. He got gypped.
Well, that's
by
true.
Grandmaster Funk.
That is true.
Goldblum.
Yeah, that is true. I love their dynamic. I love when Thor goes to the Quinjet and tries to start it, and he says strongest Avenger, and they're like no, and he's like most powerful Avenger, and then he's like Point Break, and then he's like dang it, stop.
Point Break. No.
But then when Banner comes in and Banner's like Bruce Banner, and it turns on, and they're like, "Welcome, Bruce Banner, the strongest Avenger." And Thor's like, "What?
What?
I love it." Their interactions were great. They were really good.
All right, so I have a couple of questions. I have other things to say, but all right, Phil, I'll start with you. See if you can answer this. I need someone to explain the Bifrost to me. Explain it. Can you go anywhere, any place, any time? Is there limitations? Are there limitations? What's the gig? Is the sword necessary? I don't even know what that sword is called. It's like a big giant sword. Phil, this is for you, buddy.
Go, Chris.
All right, Chris. To you.
I don't understand the Bifrost. I don't understand why it's. I
You
thought
have to
that
be
it
in
was-
its path. If you let's say you're in its path and you're minding your own business and you get hit with it, are you getting transported somewhere? Like they fall out of it at one point, right? They're in it,
Yeah, that's
and
how they wind up in
knocked
Sakaar.
out. So Chris, talk to me, dude. What's the deal with the Bifrost?
So
and they used it at the beginning of Infinity War to.
You had your
save Hulk.
chance, buddy. I'm just kidding around, man.
Mystique.
Go ahead. I'm just kidding. With you.
Well, they used it at the beginning of the Infinity War to save Hulk
Right, they shoot Hulk off. Spoiler alert.
from. Well, it makes sense though that they're able to use it at the beginning of Infinity War because that's kind of the new. Like they no longer have Asgard, so
Right.
it seems to originate with the sword. Am I right, Chris?
So
Stretch.
So here's the answer to that is we don't really have a definitive answer in the MCU. It works differently in the MCU than it does in the comics, and so we won't get into the comics too much. But yes, the answer is the sword. The sword is so you have a keeper of the sword. If you'll remember in Ragnarok, because Heimdall is in hiding, and so you have
Gets around pretty good for a blind guy, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Scourge.
Scourge, that's right. Scourge
Takes over.
Yeah. So Scourge takes over.
Behold my stuff.
Oh, I love it. We got this from a place called Texas.
What is it? Was it machine guns or was it a
Machine
hat?
No, it's the machine guns.
It was the machine guns.
Because he gets the machine guns out at the end, right?
Yeah, the M16s, right?
But yes, so he has the sword, so he's able to basically control the Bifrost. Now, the way the Bifrost is set up, so the Bifrost is if we're in the movie in the MCU, the Bifrost is the little hub that's on the end of the Rainbow Bridge. It just
sounds like a kid show.
So just imagine, so the Bifrost,
the Rainbow Bridge.
The Bifrost, basically with the sword in the pedestal, it uses the power and kind of basically aims it full force to wherever they want to go. And yes, the answer is they can go anywhere within the 9 realms. Using the Bifrost. Now, when you say any time, there's not time travel involved.
Okay, no time travel.
No time travel involved, but
unless you have a time stone.
It's maybe if you have the time stone. So basically, it's a teleportation device. It just gets you to exactly where you want to be.
So when you say wherever they want it to go, you mean the keeper of the sword? He determines.
Yes, because they always have to call him.
They call him.
Yep.
It's like the phone in the Matrix, right? They like call up and they're like, "Hey, man,
sure."
Or the
Zap me
phone
through.
booth.
Sure, absolutely.
Whatever you call it.
Now, to answer your question about anybody being in it or whatever, you actually see that at the beginning of Ragnarok, whenever the dragon's head gets cut off and enters the Bifrost.
Okay. That's true. Good
so
point.
basically, anything that's in the circle, that sphere, will get sucked up into wherever.
That seems dangerous. Wow.
Here's how Chris's answer should have been played. Here's how Chris's answer, Don. You need to interpret Chris's answer as.
Hey, Chris, explain the Bifrost to me.
If you paid attention more, you'd know these things.
I'm sorry, Chris. You're right. I should stop asking.
That's not
questions.
true. In the comic books, it's created by a wizard, and
A what?
Yeah.
Harry Potter?
No, not Harry
Gandalf.
Potter. So
nope, not him. Okay.
No.
Doctor Strange.
No. So yeah, I mean it's really different. But of course Ragnarok happened in the comics and it got destroyed, so it's not even in the comics anymore. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, you've explained it adequately. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Here's my second question, and I'll be done with questions
Right,
for now.
Phil,
You
this
have
is for
2
Phil.
questions.
This is
I'm
for
addressing it to Phil. Okay. This is a problem for me throughout all the movies with Thor in them.
Okay, good. I think we're going to get to my thing.
I don't understand his mortality, or immortality.
No clue.
His strength. I need Chris, here's your project for the week since you're before you get a job.
Okay.
Or 2.
I need a ranking of power. I need to know who's the most powerful.
Captain
if
Marvel.
we're just gonna have
Captain
an
Marvel's
all-out
is the most
WrestleMania,
powerful.
like Marvel Mania, let me know who's winning that battle.
Okay.
And why not Thor? Because he's a god. I don't understand.
I do want to chime in on this because I'm just going to
addressing it to you.
I'm actually not going to answer the question because that's my problem with this movie. Hela can rain down swords.
Yep, out of nowhere. Which is, by the way, the superpower I would choose if I could.
Yes.
When
What'd
she
you say?
When she knifes that Asian guy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
racist.
Dies.
That was so racist.
Yeah,
That's
it
not
was
Asian is a
terrible.
proper designation.
No, she was
I was
she
saying
was
she was-
indiscriminate
I was
in her
saying she was
killing. Let's be
racist.
fair. She killed everyone.
Oh, I thought you were saying
I was
was
kidding.
racist.
No, I wasn't calling you
Because
racist. No, it's just a joke.
So I don't get that. He's an Asgardian and he just dies.
Yeah, exactly. Are they not all like God type people? Is Thor imbued with special power?
Well, yes, he is because he's one of the gods. He's one of the kings, or he's a prince. But no, here's the
Is
thing. Like,
Loki as powerful as him? I don't get it.
Loki's not Asgardian.
Touche. Spoiler.
He's lesser because he's adopted, apparently, which I have a problem with.
So all right.
Just kidding.
Chris, you have an answer.
in all
Like, what,
sincerity, I
if
don't
Hulk
get it. I'm with
Hogan-
you.
if
I don't
Hulk
get it.
and Thor are going to go toe to toe, fist fight, who is going to win? Is it going to be Thor or is it going to be Hulk? I need to know this because it's driving me crazy.
Okay.
Go.
I have another question along with that.
I need an answer to this question first.
I have an answer for you. Go ahead.
Go.
Phil, you want to ask your question?
No, you're leaving me hanging.
No, I'll ask my question next.
Okay.
It has
Thor,
to do with
Hulk,
Thor's.
toe to toe. Who's winning the battle?
Thor. Thor would have won. He would
I
have
would
won.
say Thor.
I think
Sakaar.
I think that Thor wins that. So okay, so let me answer the question that you're asking though. Okay, so they're not gods. Okay,
What?
they
He's the god of thunder.
no
Thunder
no
will
no
rain.
no
R-E-I-G-N.
And yet it somehow manifests as lightning. But go ahead, Chris.
Right. That's a whole nother question.
So
But it makes a thunder sound. Okay, what is he
True,
gonna?
True.
He can't kill people with sounds.
You're avoiding my question.
No,
Answer
I'm
my
getting
question.
to it, but you need to understand it, okay? So, and they actually, to go back to Phil's point, they kind of answer this in the first Thor. Okay, so here's how it works. All right, you need to stop thinking of Asgardians as gods and think of them as aliens. Okay, they are from a different planet within the realms, the 9 realms. Okay, so they would come to Earth, and the Vikings saw them and worshipped them as gods.
As gods.
Are you trying to say
Asgard.
Asgard? You are okay. Just because you were in Boston, now you're gonna start talking
Worship
like that.
them as
Gods.
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 And that's folklore.
Because
That's
they
stuff that
wield
people-
certain powers.
Of course. So then to answer your question, they are powerful beings from a different planet that, we'll talk about the power in a second. So
Like my friend ET here.
they live a long time, okay, but they are not immortal. You see in this movie,
Odin
spoilers,
dies.
Odin dies. You
Of
also
old age.
You also
right?
see in old age. You also see in the second movie, in Dark World, Rene Russo, Frida, she dies.
What?
Right?
I don't know.
Frida dies in
I
the
don't-
second. Frida dies in the
I
second.
trust-
Had asked me
If
30
you
seconds
say it,
ago
I
if
believe
Renee
it.
Russo
Pretty
was in
sure.
Dark World, I would have said I don't know.
She was. No, I know. It was Rene Russo. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I'm pretty
she died.
sure. I'm pretty sure Frida dies in the second movie. So you see that. So death is not above them. He is stronger than humans. He is more durable than humans. He is, and he obviously controls lightning. Now, if you want to talk about how he controls lightning, I don't know in the MCU that they've answered that question. My answer to you is that he's just maybe a more elite class of his race that is able to harness, specific powers.
Okay,
But I don't
let
think
me.
that's something that has to be answered. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. It just seems inconsistent to me sometimes, and it's fine. I can live with it. I'm not griping, but like when he's got Mjolnir, whatever
Yeah.
his
Yep.
hammer,
Yes.
like he's like he's invincible, like when he's got the hammer, right?
But to who? But to who? Who are you saying?
That's a great question.
Well, I mean,
Apparently not Hela, I guess.
Yeah. Well, so like if
She
you're saying
crushes it.
if you're saying
Spoiler.
that he's invincible, who have we seen him fight? He fought the Chitauri, right? The Chitauri in Avengers, and they're like little alien grunts, and he was able to beat the crap out of them. You saw him fight the elves in the Dark World, and he was able to smack them around. You saw him fight in Jotunheim, and he fought the ice giants, which he was able to smack them around.
All these names is mind blowing to me.
But I mean, we haven't, but so yeah, I agree with that. But Hela is like his equal, right? So
High five, Phil. High five. High five.
You dummies.
Did I go the right way?
I have no
Try the
clue.
other way just in case.
So stupid.
No, I do enjoy talking
yet,
about this.
He manages, I think his greatest strength, I really sincerely think that Thor's greatest power is that he's able to endure the presence of Natalie Portman.
God, I hate you.
I agree with that completely because she's terrible.
You're both the
He
worst.
can endure her blandness.
The worst.
She's blah.
That's her
Isn't she?
superpower.
She's
super
horrible.
bland.
I'm telling you, I don't think the
She is worse in the
she's
Star
like-
Wars movies than anyone, and
She's
no
like
one acknowledges
eating-
that.
she's like-
She's terrible
She's like eating vanilla ice cream without the ability to taste.
without the vanilla. Yeah, exactly.
My mouth is cold, but I'm not
She's-
enjoying it.
Oh, she's
I
the
love Natalie
worst.
Portman. I love Natalie Portman. Okay, and I will tell you this: I hate to break this to you, but she's not done with the MCU. She's gonna be, she's
No.
gonna be back.
Oh, is she gonna? If she better not come back and be some superhero
She's going to
person.
inherit a power.
I think she's
She's gonna be Captain
she
America,
may be,
isn't she?
She may be Thor.
Don't tell me.
She's going to be the new Thor. Because
No.
Thor's a woman in the
No,
comics.
no.
Thor is Jane Foster in the comics.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Have we no limits here? She's
he's
terrible.
reborn.
She's
All right,
okay.
we need to talk about this movie.
Carry on.
All right, any other questions that you have, Donnie?
I don't have any more questions. I have comments, but I'll
So,
put
no,
it
wait,
in
wait,
your
That's what I
guys'
had
order
to say
now.
about Hela is there's this sense of like and again, Chris, we talked about this before. Like they're sort of like ranging these strengths where it's like Hela could just take over. She's just walking in back, you know what I mean? Like just like I don't understand. Well, I can't talk about Black Panther. No,
you can't.
It's not Black Panther. It's Infinity War. I don't understand how at the end of Infinity War, like Thor can't just like wipe them all out. Just
Right. Bang, one shot of the hammer, they're all dead meat.
Wait, what do you mean one shot of the hammer? It's not like a
two or
laser
three shots
gun.
of the hammer. Boom, boom, boom. It's a lightning gun.
It's a
Emperor
axe.
is like
It's a giant axe.
right, but he throws it like through
Right.
waves of people.
He holds his arm up in Doctor Strange's weirdo palace or whatever, and you can hear it crashing through like whatever Twilight Zone it's in,
That's hilarious.
waiting, and it comes to his hand.
I also have a problem with like War Machine. Why he doesn't stay high and just laser them all.
We already covered that. You already said that.
So we're getting into this. We're getting into this realm where it's like these.
I still
powers-
love this movie. Just let me
it's
say
great.
it. Okay.
Can we get to Korg?
Let's talk about Korg. So they introduce Korg. Korg becomes basically the Hulk's right-hand man in the comics. And so they introduce him here, and he is definitely not... The comics, he's a much more serious character. They introduce him here as a zany, quirky rock monster. And he is one of the best like side characters in the entire MCU. He's so good.
Hey man,
Yeah, he is.
think I'm about to get on this ship. Fly away.
You
You
wanna
come with
go?
us?
It's
funny.
great.
I
Doesn't
made
he-
Gavin come in and watch that with me. Like, you come here, watch this. This is fun.
Doesn't he introduce himself as the talking pile of rocks on the floor or something? It's like the pile of rocks over talking to you. It's me or something.
He's,
That's me. I'm
walking
Korg.
through-
Does he have any powers? I mean, he doesn't really do anything in this movie.
No, he's
except
just a
fire
strong.
weapons.
He's just a strong rock guy.
So
like
he's
his race.
He's no Hulk. He's not that strong.
He's perishable
No,
rock.
no, he's just
Okay.
like a rock guy. Yeah. And
Like-
obviously he's like from a rock planet. I mean, that's what his people look like.
Is he like Thing? Is he like Thing, or is he
No.
stronger than Thing?
I don't.
Okay, sorry. I need that chart.
I don't
need it
know.
ASAP.
I don't know that they. Do you know how many characters in the MCU?
I want Korg on the chart.
Korg's great.
Korg is Korg is basically like Arnold Schwarzenegger covered in rocks. Okay, that's his.
That's it. Okay,
that's
so
what he
he's
is.
really not strong.
He's just
Voiced
like
by-
a strong guy.
Yeah, voiced by.
But
the
I
director
do
that's covered before.
my favorite part with him though is when he's like explaining that that Thor can't do it, and Thor's like, has anybody faced the champion? He's like, oh yeah, man, Dave has. Hey Dave. Oh man, that's right, Dave's dead.
Dave's dead. Oh my
Bye,
gosh.
Dave.
Then
Bye,
when he
Dave.
runs off, he's like, bye, dude. Dave.
Oh man, that's
At
so
the end when
bad.
he's like, Meek, where are you from? Oh, Meek's dead, man. Accidentally stepped on him on the bridge. I just been carrying
Is he
him around all
dead?
day.
And then when he comes back to life, it's the best.
Is
Yeah,
that-
oh, no, he does. He's like, oh,
Okay.
Meek's alive.
Yeah, so he's carrying that little dude, right? That's not the guy with the knife hands, right? He gets killed, right? The knife hand guy
No,
that's
I-
kind of hanging around with him.
no, I
wasn't
think
sure.
no. That's him.
I don't
That's-
see him at the
that's
end.
Meek.
That's him.
Really?
Yeah.
He looks really little and he doesn't have knife hands.
No, I
looks like a little worm.
I don't think they were his. I think that he was wearing them.
Oh, he's like, okay,
has
so
like
they
an
weren't
armor.
part of him.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Hey, man. Meek's
Hey,
dead.
can we talk about the Willy Wonka scene? Can we talk about that?
So good. So good.
Dude,
Jeff Goldblum in this movie.
have you watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory anytime lately, either of you?
It's been-
You know the scene, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Where they're in the boat.
Uh huh.
Yeah, it's
Going
like the
through
most
the tunnel.
psychedelic scene of our childhood.
When Thor is going through that, and he is like, "What the heck?" He's like, "What is happening?"
And then I love when he starts screaming, and then just like stops, and he's just like,
Right?
yelling.
He's freaking out at the end. He's like, "Ah!" And he's like, all of a sudden, he's sitting in that room with him. That is hilarious, man. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
I like the scene with Goldblum where he gets mad at his sidekick girl for wanting to just melt people.
What's her
Oh,
name?
yeah.
Topaz, Sapphire, Topaz,
Topaz. Maybe.
Topaz.
Yeah.
He's like, why do you go for the melting stick? He just was disrespectful. It's not
Right.
a capital punishment.
She was hardcore, dude. She
So,
was like,
do you recognize her? Either of you? Do you know what she's been in before?
She's I mean I
It's
don't.
not
I
the
don't.
first time she's worked with Taika Waititi.
ladies of the World Wrestling Fellowship or World
No.
Wrestling Federation. I don't know.
No. So she was in
Pumping Iron
another-
to the women. No.
No.
Okay.
She was in another movie made by Taika Waititi, or
Oh,
whatever you say.
I haven't seen this, but that's right.
The Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yeah.
I was gonna watch that the other day
You guys
based
haven't
on you.
seen this
You told
movie?
me to watch it. I was gonna watch it. Okay, I'm gonna watch that this week too.
If you like the
Black
comedy
Panther,
Thor,
Hunt for the-
you will crack up laughing all the way through Hunt for the Wilder People. It's great. And the
All
kid
right.
from Hunt for the Wilder People is in Deadpool too, by the way.
Is
So
it-
they're all
is
making
it
their
in
way.
English?
See it.
Is it English?
Yeah, it's like New Zealand.
Okay.
So they
No,
all
but I
have
mean they speak
Sam.
they speak English though, right?
They're from New Zealand. Yes, they speak English.
They
For
don't
some
speak
reason,
Maori.
when you said this movie, I thought about a movie that I wanted to watch a while back that was subtitled, but I don't know what that was.
Hunt for the Wilder People is on my list with Black
Dude,
Panther. I'll have watched
there's
them both
There's a
by the next time we meet.
there's a Terminator reference in Hunt for the Wilder People, made by the actress who plays. Is it Topaz? Oh
I
man,
think it's
so
Topaz.
funny. So funny. She's also the voice of Moana's grandmother, by the way.
Yeah,
Just-
that's where I
Oh.
knew her from. That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
I remember that now.
She's great. in that as
Um,
well.
She was good. She was super funny. I love the scene where she's like, I forget now. I always get the line
I haven't
mixed
seen
up.
that either.
Where they were talking about the slaves though. She's like, the slaves are getting out, and he's like, you know, I don't like the S word, and she's like, sorry,
Oh, yeah.
the prisoners with jobs.
Right.
So yeah,
In the special features on the Blu-ray, there's Grandmaster comes to room with an Earthling, and he does the melting stick on one of his friends. It's pretty funny, but anyway,
I like him.
I'll stop.
Let's so real quick before we wrap up, let's talk about Valkyrie. How do we feel
Yep.
about Valkyrie? New addition to the MCU, kind of broadening out the warrior class. This goes back to what we were talking about with the Asgardians. So
So she doesn't have a name, basically, right? They just call her Valkyrie.
That's
because
correct.
she is a Valkyrie, but they just call her that.
That's correct.
So
yeah.
are Valkyries Asgardians?
Yeah, so Valkyrie are think of them kind of like the royal
aliens,
guard.
Phil. They're aliens.
They're aliens. Yeah, but think of them as kind of like elite royal guards. They're like strong women
like
that ride Pegasus.
Pegasi.
And so they're specially trained, and they're kind of like the elite warriors of the of the Asgard. They all fell to Hela except for the last one, which I guess is why she can be called Valkyrie.
There you go.
Yeah, she's okay. I don't know. You see, Chris is gonna cringe here. I think there's a lot they can do with the character, but I just don't see her ever being a primary character. I just feel like the way they set her up, she's sort of gonna always serve to protect Thor.
Yeah, which is kind of her role.
Well, if it keeps
but in that role, she's
out of the movies, I'm all in.
She's all of a sudden my favorite.
I love her. I agree with Phil. She was all right. I enjoyed her too. Her entrance was great when she fell off the ramp of her ship. When she shoots the guy, he's mine, and it's like, whoop.
That was great.
That was good. It was funny.
They killed the Warriors 3 in this movie.
What?
We don't know what you're talking about.
So
this should come as no surprise whatsoever.
The hashtag for this episode should be what?
Huh?
The Warriors 3 are Thor's like 3 best buds. The Asian guy, the fat guy, and the pretty boy.
She killed him in the Bifrost room.
Yeah, and the pretty boy.
Unceremoniously, dude. Like just bammo, you're dead.
At least the Asian guy kind of stood up for himself. Now, what we didn't get was Lady Sif.
Where's the girl?
Lady Sif wasn't there. We don't know where Lady Sif is. Off camera we do. She was shooting Blind Spot or whatever show she's on.
Fact, she went to Colleyville Heritage High School.
That was a little known fact. That's
where my son went his freshman year in
Look at
Texas.
there. He's going to be the next Lady Sif.
Sir,
we're so proud of him.
So she wasn't there because of scheduling.
Obligated.
Yeah, but they obviously, so now she's not dead. Lady Sif is a pretty big character in the comics, and she, if I remember, I don't read a lot of Thor, and I haven't read a lot lately, but I'm pretty sure they get married at some point, Thor and Sif. So she could still be a pretty big player in the Thor universe. But anyways, yeah, she definitely wasn't there. But they did kill the Warriors 3. They're dead.
She is that actress was in a movie called The Last Stand with Arnold.
Jamie Alexander.
Did either of you see this movie?
No.
I did.
It's so fun.
It's fun. It's funny. It's a good time.
It's not, you don't watch an Arnold movie for its depth. That movie's
only Pumping Iron. Pumping Iron is deep.
Yeah. But anyway, they're dead.
He should have been in Solo then. So the Warriors 3 are gone. We get Odin's gone in this movie. So, and then of course, we need to talk about the end, which is, Asgard is destroyed. Did you guys think that was going to happen? Like what's your, again, I knew the story, but how did you guys feel about, were you expecting Asgard to be destroyed?
Nope.
I picked up pretty quickly that was the only way to defeat Hela.
Really? See, I didn't either. I thought they'd find a way around it. But yeah.
I had no clue, but I'm not very intuitive as a movie watcher. That's a fact.
Donnie watches a lot of movies with this look.
I think Donnie watches
absolutely.
It like he should, which is just enjoying it, and then
that's what I do. I try not to know stuff. I don't want to read in. I just want to watch it play out.
I feel like that you pick up on a lot when you watch something repeatedly, like a second time. It's hard for me sometimes because I can't. Sometimes I can't, and I think that's what happened with Solo. Is I can't disengage myself from that mode. But yeah, so I actually didn't think that they were I kind of felt like they leaned into it so heavy, with Hela.
You thought that they would get away from it.
Yeah, I thought that Thor would kind of figure out a way to save Asgard. So it actually did surprise me. Yeah, it did surprise me that they let it go. Which I like. I like, still kind of being surprised by
shake it up.
Yeah, because they're reshaping some stuff. And then obviously that leads into Infinity War, obviously, because that's where Infinity War starts. And so
what?
Spoiler.
Yeah. Let's so I want to end by kind of talking about where you would like this to go. So okay, so let me say.
I have before we close though. I want to get a couple final thoughts in, and you guys may too. But I want to mention a couple things.
Yeah. We'll have final thoughts.
Quick.
Let's talk about next though. Okay, so I said this when we wanted to talk about this movie. I kind of threw this out in the chat, and this is what's interesting is that I feel like of all of the solo movies, Thor and the Dark World were probably the lowest of the bunch. And I feel like everybody's coming up on their third movie. We had Iron Man 3, we had Civil War. I feel like those characters are kind of wrapping. I feel like we're going to get some closure on them next year with with Avengers 4. But I actually think Ragnarok kick-started Thor.
It's like a reboot.
Yeah, almost. So do you guys think that, first off, do you think Hemsworth has already said he would come back? Do you see Marvel keeping him and doing like another 3 movies? And is that something you would want? I mean, I think Hemsworth is great.
I like the guy. I like Hemsworth. He's great.
Yeah.
I think he's a gorgeous man.
He is a good-looking man.
Gorgeous. God, he's great. So...
Calm down. Calm down. This is not Solo. Don't be red hot for this right now.
In the mid 2000s, they did this thing in the comics where they kind of rebooted Thor, and it was after Ragnarok, and Thor basically brought Asgard, like the capital of Asgard, to Oklahoma and put it in the desert in Oklahoma. And it was a great series because like Thor and the Warriors 3, they started showing up to like town hall meetings.
New drinking game, everyone.
Like
every time we say Oklahoma on this podcast, take a drink.
Like they're fully dressed in their Asgardian clothes, and they show up to like these town hall meetings, and they're meeting and mingling with the Earth people. It was a hilarious premise. But I almost think that they're kind of setting up with Odin's death. Where Odin talks about, I think they were on the coast of like Ireland or somewhere in Norway or something like that. But he just talked about how he loved that place. I almost think that they're kind of setting up like that's where Thor will set down and start a new Asgard city. But I think that's cool. I think that they could run a whole other series of Thor trying to integrate into human life. I think that could be a fun way to kind of take the series.
Yeah.
That's well, but that's the question of like how many Asgardians are left.
Yeah, I mean, so again, this is
a smidge.
Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine that
half of them.
Yeah, I would say probably half of them. So
half of the ones that were left, which was not very many.
Much, yeah, I mean, I think we're talking about no more than probably 50 would be my guess.
Remember Hela swords?
Okay. All right. Let's go to final thoughts. And let's wrap this up. So Donnie, you had some final thoughts. Let's hear them.
Oh, I think we'll have something to say about this. Philip mentioned earlier Jeff Goldblum in this movie, man. He's a legit. Like we joke about Nick Cage. Well, no, we don't. He's kind of insane. Jeff Goldblum he's literally insane. He's crazy nuts.
Dude, I don't think that he is acting. I don't either. I don't even think he knows where he is. I think he just shows up and they're like, "Here, wear this," and then just go stand over there and do whatever you want to do.
I don't think so. I think he's found a niche that works for him. Here's the deal.
It's weird, man.
I think Jeff Goldblum is the Christopher Walken of our generation.
Could be.
True.
Second of all, did you guys see where he was doing pressers for Jurassic Kingdom?
Whatever.
What is it?
Yeah. Jurassic World Kingdom.
And he starts interviewing
The other
world.
people.
The other guys.
Yeah, I saw that. He's
so
weird. He's just nuts, man.
He's so
But
weird.
okay, so on the note of Goldblum being Goldblum, Chris, let's all name our favorite Jeff Goldblum movie. Start with Phil.
The Fly.
Mine would be The Fly. Also,
Chris.
Chris, what's your favorite Goldblum?
Mine would definitely not be The Fly.
Sorry, I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I hate you.
Goldblum was great in this movie. He was Goldblum.
Yeah, he really was fun, dude.
Goldblum and all of his Goldblums.
He was really fun. I enjoyed him
Yeah.
a lot.
I do too. To answer that question, I would say The Lost World. For me.
Not Thor Ragnarok.
No, he's dang good at Thor Ragnarok though. No, Goldblum is hilarious. He's really
All
good.
right. I have two other quick thoughts, and you guys are going to mock me.
Always.
Okay.
Always.
Sure.
But I thought, okay, Thor's fight scene on the bridge at the end, when he comes alive and starts just kind of hammering dudes, not
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
All right, here's my statement. I think that is my favorite action scene in any Marvel movie. When Thor, just him, not everybody else, but the way he's taking out those dudes on that, I think maybe the music has a part in that.
Absolutely.
Just the way it's set, I loved it. It was just like, yeah man, you know,
It would
let
definitely
the
not.
lightning roll, you know.
Yeah. It would
I mean,
definitely.
thunder.
It would.
My bad.
It would definitely not be my favorite. But it was excellent. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
good. And then the Hulk at the end jumping onto what is the beast called? Ragnarok? Is that the big thing? Or is he have a
No,
different
Ragnarok
name?
is the prophecy of the demise of
Yeah.
Asgard.
Well, who's the
Very
big creature
good.
at the end?
Very
Go Phil.
good,
Go Phil.
Very good. You mean the big dog?
No.
No,
Oh,
The big dude with the
skeleton.
sword, the destructor of
Satan.
Asgard.
It's Surtur.
That's Surtur, so he's
Yeah.
like giant size now because he got
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah. Yes. He has the
Okay.
eternal flame. So
When
he's
Hulk
able to-
goes after him, I thought was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah,
You
because
see like the little Hulk flying through the air. He's like, Hulk, no! Big monster, he says. Big monster. Anyway.
So okay, so let's jump back to the fight thing. So for me, my favorite fight scene. Oh God, there's been a lot of
In
movies.
Marvel or this movie?
No, in Marvel, there's been a lot of movies, man. So
You're telling me
No.
it's not?
I know.
You don't think it's Thor and Captain America at the end of Civil War?
Iron
You
Man
mean
and Cap?
Iron Man?
No,
Or sorry, Captain America and
I
Iron
think-
Man with Winter Soldier pounding the crap out of Iron Man.
it's hard. I would say that for me, it's a two-way tie between.
That's also called a tie.
Right.
That's true.
Definition
That's true.
of a
That's
tie.
true. It's a tie between the elevator fight in Winter Soldier
That's great.
and
Wait.
and-
What, the elevator fight? Oh, yeah.
yeah,
When he's with all the
Yeah.
They try to
armed
capture
guys.
him.
and when he's like,
okay.
"This
That's
is
a
your
good one.
last chance to get off,"
Anybody want to get off?
Yeah,
Get
that's
off.
a good one. I forgot about that one. That's
And-
pretty good.
and then I would say the first tribal fight in Black Panther.
Now it's seen it. Dude, you're like an encyclopedia, man.
Wait.
You
The
are
first-
a
the
Marvel
first
Where
giant fight?
where he fights him, where he fights M'Baka, the very first one.
Really? You put that on the list?
I'm not
Oh, man.
listening.
I thought it
I'm
was
not
excellent.
listening.
I thought it was excellent.
Okay,
What
I'll
about
have
the
to check
fight
it out.
at the beginning of Captain America: Winter Soldier when he fights the terrorists on the boat?
Yeah, that's what's his name?
He takes off his helmet.
That's
like-
Balrog. Isn't that Balrog, the leaping French guy? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
he
that's
has a name.
what's his name? MMA fighter, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's
He's a character
George
though.
St. Pierre. George
He-
St. Pierre.
He's a
That's it.
character in the Marvel universe though.
He's also a character in Lord of the Rings. Saw him there as well.
Anyway, but I would agree. I think that the Thor fight on the bridge is absolutely great. I prefer more
I like the
hand to
scene
hand
where Bruce
stuff,
Banner
dough.
dives out of the Quinjet
And
or
then
out of
doesn't
the-
change?
out that jet. And he's-
He says to Valkyrie, "You'll know who I am in just a minute," or something like that. Like you'll know in a minute. It's
Good
like-
Here's my problem though. Why doesn't that kill him?
Right.
Yeah.
You can't kill Bruce Banner, bro. He's not. He doesn't die.
Because Hulk always sort of like
Hulk always emerges, and
Yeah.
when they
He's
get
not
on
gonna
his
kill
when they get on the Grandmaster's boat and they're like, or his ship, and they're like, this was more of a pleasure ship.
Grandmaster. I'm done. I got nothing else, man.
Phil,
I
you got
love it.
any
I love this
final
movie.
thoughts, man? Phil?
Dude, I went to YouTube and played the best of Korg over and over. It's like 2 minutes of all of his lines just strung together.
He's the best,
it
man.
cracks me up. Just he's like, hey man, we
All
get
right, I'm writing that down too on my watch
on this
list.
boat.
Best of Korg.
Best of Korg.
YouTube.
Yeah, it's like, we're gonna get on this boat or this ship, fly away. You to come?
Oh, he's good. It's good.
I thought Korg was great. I really enjoyed I think just the sense of humor of it all. Like, even though I thought it was a little over the top at times, like it was nice to see a Thor movie that was like didn't take itself seriously.
Yeah.
I liked how, I don't know if you guys picked up. I assume you picked up on it because it seemed obvious to me, but like the mantle passing to Thor was him losing his eye. Like Odin doesn't have an eye, and I'm pretty sure Hela took it, right?
Odin's or Thor?
I don't
Odin.
know. I don't know. They
Do
confirmed
we ever know
that.
why he's missing an eye?
I don't know. They confirmed that.
I thought there was something indicated there.
I
But
thought it
anyway,
was cancer.
Yeah,
My
I don't know
bad.
if that's the
I
thing.
don't think so.
But anyway, I just thought that was kind of cool because like now he's in charge and he's got a patch, and it's kind of obviously he loses the patch in the next movie.
Spoilers.
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 Well, we did a whole spoiler cast. But
Yeah, that's why we did a spoiler cast. We didn't do it on here.
talk about
It's
it
like
on
y'all
here.
trying to ruin Black Panther for me.
My bad. But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool. I really did like Hela. Thought she was. I thought
she
that
was
head
good
thing she
too.
wore was weird though. Like when she's like.
Yeah, I liked her better.
That. I thought it was cool.
I thought it was cool. I liked her better without it, though. I think she.
She looked scarier without it.
Yeah, she looked crazy without it.
Yeah, it's
She
like her all
looked
run
like
out
a
black
little
makeup.
Looney. Yeah, like a little Looney Tune. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound scary at all.
I like the scene
A
where he's
little
like,
Looney Tune?
you wanna
Tweety Bird?
you want a wooden fork, which really isn't good for anything except for maybe killing 3 vampires who are bunched up close together. Like, hey man,
Yeah, that was good.
next time clean off the weapons, man.
when he's explaining his
Oh my
when he's
gosh.
explaining his hammer, he's like, "You got a pretty intimate relationship with your hammer."
Yeah.
Oh no.
that whole
Yeah.
interaction is great. They like I love Korg. Hopefully, again, we don't want to spoil Infinity War, but we don't know. Let's just say
Really?
we don't know where Korg is. So it will be
Or
interesting
Valkyrie.
to see. It'll be interesting to see where Korg pops back
Or
up.
Hawkeye. Or Ant-Man. When is Hawkeye getting a trilogy? Come on. Seriously.
Dude, I wish
Ant-Man's already up to his second
I
movie.
wish they would make a Hawkeye trilogy. I'd watch the crap.
There's
out
no
of it.
Hulk trilogy. Where's
I wish,
Hulk?
I wish they would make a Hawkeye series, a Netflix series.
Doesn't Universal own Hulk?
Nobody wants a
For
Hawkeye
now,
series.
yeah.
Literally
I do.
nobody
I
wants that
want
to
a
happen.
Hawkeye. I want a
No, you
Hawkeye
don't.
series based on Matt Fraction's run.
You're just being contrarian.
Oh my god!
No one wants
I'm
that.
telling you, if
Green
you
Arrow is
read,
better.
If you read Matt Fraction's run on Hawkeye, it
You would.
DC Green
here's the deal,
Arrow
man.
is better than Hawkeye.
You would. I would argue they've just. I don't understand Hawkeye in the MCU, and I think that's part of the problem. Like he's
I
a
think
character
he's
in
dead.
the comics.
I think Thanos killed him. That's
he's
what I
not
think.
dead. He's not dead. I think
How
he's
do you
gonna.
know that?
I'm telling you, he is gonna have a huge part in the next movie.
He is.
Yay, you're really selling it for me.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I
to
think right now, between the 2 movies, there's an arrow soaring through the air. The opening scene is
It's
going to
already
be
been
Thanos with an arrow in his eye.
I cannot wait.
Fired it across the world at the beginning.
I cannot wait to have our Avengers 4 spoiler cast where Donnie has to admit that Hawkeye was his favorite character in the movie.
I will never admit that. No
Okay.
matter you could kidnap my whole
So,
family, I wouldn't
can I
admit
ask
that. So.
Can I ask an Avenger spoiler question?
No, you can't.
No, you can't spoil it on here.
After we
We
wrap.
did a
you
spoiler
can't.
cast
It's actually
already.
not a spoiler for this movie. It's not a spoiler for this movie.
Are you gonna spoil Black Panther?
No, it's an older movie. Civil War. What are the chances we get Quicksilver, or that we get Quicksilver back?
No.
0. He's too minor of a character.
Well, no, I wouldn't argue that. I actually think he's pretty important to the Avengers mythos, but because Fox is using him in the X-Men movies, Marvel won't put him back in.
Is that who the X-Men guy is? Quicksilver? That's the same guy?
Same guy.
Not the actor, but the same character.
Yeah.
What?
So in
I didn't know that.
So listen.
I seriously didn't know that.
We just become best friends.
Yeah.
Listen, real quick, history lesson. In the comics, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are brother and sister, and their father is Magneto. They're mutants.
Right, we know this
Okay.
from
We know this.
Now, in the MCU, they're not mutants. They got their power from the Tesseract.
Right.
When they were doing when Zemo was doing no, not Zemo.
Red Skull, wasn't it?
No, crap. No, I can't think of his name. But the very beginning of Age of Ultron, they're doing experiments on people, and that's how they got their powers. So they're not mutants. So they're not related to Magneto. However, in the X-Men, in Fox's X-Men movies, they brought in Quicksilver, not Scarlet Witch, but Quicksilver, as part of the series as Magneto's kid. And so so they brought him out at the same time that they were shooting Age of Ultron. And so Marvel killed him and will not use him as long as Fox has him in that X-Men universe.
Gotcha. So much going on there.
But Quicksilver's a huge, like he's known as being an Avenger. And so it would be cool for him to be in the Avengers again in the future, but we'll see. Okay.
It'd be nice to get a decent Fantastic Four movie.
Oh my gosh, that's
Never
all,
gonna happen.
That's all
Hey,
I want.
lived
Are you
near
kidding
Chris.
me? No.
I lived in the same city as Chris when that came out. You want to talk about a dude that was bought in from minute one? That guy.
That's how he acted with Solo.
And then he saw it.
Chris is
That
the
movie was
all-in
trash.
guy.
That movie
Chris is that guy, man.
But
Remember how he was? Remember how he was with Justice League? How pumped he was, and he was all.
I was
hyped up.
never pumped for Justice League.
Remember Dawn of Justice? He was going crazy. Wonder Woman. He was bananas.
I remember when he first saw Bane and thought that's the greatest villain ever created.
I remember that. I wrote that down when we talked about it that time.
Oh,
And
like,
he was going nuts.
Hey, people.
Chris, what's up?
Listen, I'm a fan of the material. All right, I'm a fan of Han Solo. That's why I was really hoping the movie would be good. I am a fan. Fantastic Four is my favorite comic series and my favorite comic comic team, and I just cannot wait till Marvel does it right. But we're not there yet. All right, we got to finish by reviewing Thor Ragnarok.
Reviewing.
So
okay, to the end.
1 star. 1 star.
No, 1 star is
that's
our
the
podcast,
My
not
bad.
Thor. So Donnie, how about you? If you had to review this movie
Like now? Okay.
what would you
Okay.
give Thor the Ragnarok?
I will give Thor Ragnarok 95 Grandmaster Goldblums. Revel in it, baby. Revel in it.
Very nice.
I wish they had gone all meta with that and just made his character Jeff Goldblum. Like if he was like a human that somehow got stranded on this planet. And he's
Jeff
like,
Goldblum.
in another world, I was an actor, but here I've created entertainment for these people.
That's
and like,
hilarious.
he was just Jeff Goldblum.
Dude, they could have
It's called Team Daryl. When he moves in with Daryl on Earth as a roommate. It's like a 5-minute short.
Oh, that's funny.
And,
I'll have to watch that.
He's like trying to tell Earth through YouTube that he's taking over the planet.
That's a spin on that whole like. Remember when they did Thor as somebody's roommate?
I don't remember that.
They did like a series of YouTube videos. This Thor was like a roommate.
That's right.
Something
That's
like
right.
Well, no, he's like, how many views do we have? He's like, well, 1. He's like, oh, that's pretty good. He's like, well, that's us. It's like, he's like, okay.
Oh man,
It's pretty funny. Anyway, it's
so
meta, like you said.
but yeah, I was gonna say in Guardians 2, whenever Kurt Russell turns into David Hasselhoff, you know, so it's a pop culture figure coming in like that. That would have been great for Jeff Goldblum just to be Jeff Goldblum.
awesome.
Or Christopher Walken.
Oh, Christopher Walken would have been good. All right, Phil, you're gonna review this movie. What how would you review this movie?
It's 2 thumbs up, but they've been melted into a puddle by the melt stick.
2 melted thumbs up. 2 melted puddles of thumbs.
Arrested Development, the new season.
That's not a capital punishment.
Just relax. Why do you want to melt everybody?
I would give
Chris.
this a perfect 10 Bifrosts, and call it a day.
Man,
So,
we all know what that means now.
we all know what that
Yeah.
means.
Bifrost
We
is.
know what that means.
You're
Good
all
deal.
welcome. All right,
Parting
guys,
words, parting recommendations. Hunt for the
recommendations.
Wilder People. If you enjoyed this movie, you'll enjoy Hunt for the Wilder People.
I will have watched it by next podcast by our short, and Black Panther by our short, and Best of Korg on YouTube, all viewed by the short.
There you go. And if we get 100 one-star reviews on iTunes, we will officially change our name. So go ahead and start working on that. With that being said, this is episode 7 of Real Amigos, the one where we talk about Thor Ragnarok. We appreciate you guys hanging around with us and listening. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you are watching this on YouTube, I will ask this of you. In the comments down below, I would like you to tell us what your favorite part or moment from Thor Ragnarok was. And if you would review it, what would you give it? Right in the comments down below. And if you remember, we have a Facebook group. Please join and chat with us. We try to talk about what's coming up on the show and just talk about general movie stuff. So that's where you're going to find us. You can find our podcast on Twitter at Real Amigos, and you can find all of us on Twitter as well. If you would like to do that, you can find Phil at Phil Miles, FILMILES. You can find Donnie at Miles_Donnie with an IE. You can find me on Twitter at Neo Lego. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time. Bye.
Adios. Peeps.
Farewell.